So him and my mom went to that No Kings protest,
Oh,
and they've been
really?
going to a lot of protests. Yeah, they've been
Oh my
doing a
God, my
lot
Tina and
of
Tom.
protesting.
I
Yeah,
had no idea. I
yeah,
had no idea my
they really
babies
get
were in
out
the
there.
street like that. That's not safe.
Yeah, no, so like, okay, so my uncle passed, and his memorial was on Saturday. That's why I was in DC.
Okay.
Now, my uncle was in a wheel. My uncle was crippled in a couple of different ways. He was legally blind, legally deaf. He was in a wheelchair from strokes. He had these issues, and uh, Medicaid was basically the government was constantly trying to fuck him out of uh, his dignity and like access to respectable care. And so I found it really beautiful because my mom and dad went, my dad was really active in working with the government to try to get
Mm,
my uncle Timmy uh, to get him the care he needed
mm-hmm.
and to get him the services he needed. So, he'd be calling me, he'd be like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I've been on, like, like I was on a phone call for like 4 hours and with Maryland's, unemployment or what, like whatever
Mm-hmm.
the fuck. And he was like, I've been on and we got absolutely nothing done. Like he was gritting his teeth and like doing all the things that he had to do in order to try to get him what he needed to get. And so I found it really beautiful that they went on the day of his funeral, on the day of his memorial service. It was a Quaker memorial service. They went to the No Kings protest.
10 minutes prior.
No, I was saying hold on so I could hit so this could be a podcast episode.
Oh,
I hit
okay,
record.
okay.
No,
I thought you were
I
like,
haven't
whoa,
been
hold on.
offended
You're
yet,
coming out. Yeah, I didn't know
Nathan.
you felt this way. Yeah,
When
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
I mean anything can change, but my
Yeah,
alarm level is at 1 out of 10 right now. Just 1 out of
yeah,
10.
thank you. I hope to always return that favor and always be able to listen to you.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, because these can be these can be interesting conversations. All right, did you hit record?
I did. I did.
Okay,
Okay,
all
start
right.
over though with for the listeners. Start with the question that
Start
you
over.
asked. Not really. You don't have to start from the beginning, but it's like you call me with what question, and then you're gonna talk about
Oh
why.
yeah, okay. So the question that I asked is what do you think accountability for Black people who have played a role in harming Black communities should look like, and not just harming Black communities, but just harming communities. I don't know, doing harm. You know what I mean?
To themselves
Because
personally.
to themselves, but also to the community. Now, I was gonna say, I said originally, Black people doing harm to the Black community, um, but communities are so connected and interconnected. Truthfully, at the end
Yeah,
of the
and that's why you said
day,
the community. And can you give me an example? Do you
yeah,
mean like a drug dealer on the corner selling crack to his neighbor? Is that what you mean?
literally exactly the
Okay,
first kind of idea that I
exactly.
think of is it's typically
Lisa,
someone
thank you.
selling,
I'm getting out the
like
Uber.
that's the because that's because I have people I love who have sold crack, and so that's something I've
Do they
thought a lot
even
about.
sell crack anymore? Is that like a 90? Is it fentanyl? Do people sell it? Is it Bitcoin? I don't know. I don't know.
Really
I don't know
great
no drug
question. I'm
dealers.
going to be honest with you. I keep my questions down to a minimum.
Okay.
I keep my questions down to a minimum, and I basically never really want to ever ask questions over the phone, and that's now that I'm in Ohio, that's most of how I talk to these folks. So, anyways,
So your example, you're
so
talking to your dad.
yeah, so I'm talking to my dad, and I'm like, listen, so I've been a part of a lot of, or I've seen a lot of conversations, and I've been on the other side of conversations, where I am, within reason and appropriately defending the Black community from, and Black people from accusations of, and this is what the accusations sound like. This is what I hear from other people is, hey, so black people in these cities, they've been given every opportunity. They continue to harm themselves. We've all heard of black on black violence. We know that is a thing that people believe in, and they're hurting each other. They're selling drugs. They're not trying to do anything to actually better themselves, and they're just creating the environments that we see on TV. It's black people doing this to themselves. So
And then your dad mentioned Israel,
yeah,
and
so when my dad was talking about Israel, and he's like, the rest of my family, my immediate family, is much more, uh,
anti-Israel.
yeah. It's weird to say anti-Israel because they're not. My mom and my sister maybe, but my dad isn't really anti-Israel, but he is like anti-Israeli establishment. A
Hmm.
lot more, like he's a lot more.
Anti the
Um,
current government.
Yes, yeah, he's a lot more vocally anti the current government. And I
Okay.
really want to stress vocally because at the end of the day, I really am anti the Israeli government, but I'm more vocal about other
Other
things
things.
like
So because of the
problems in our own
things,
backyard and stuff like that. Yeah.
because of the types of things you're vocal about, your dad has called you a sympathizer.
Yeah, he essentially, basically, he was asking me questions because he was trying to get to the root of what I was really trying to say. He was concerned that I was a sympathizer to the point that it was like I was not able to see things clearly.
Mm, mm,
And
mm, mm,
so,
mm, mm, mm.
yeah, so he was really, that was his concern. And it was very obvious in the questions that he was asking.
What was he asking? I'm really interested.
It was just like a continuing dialogue around like, okay, so, and this is what a lot of what we do when we get into dialogues about stuff. So he'll
Mm.
be like, um, I can't remember why Israel got brought up, but it gets brought up, and he'll
Oh,
be
it's
like,
because you're
so
Jewish.
yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, later, yes, yeah. And so he was
Maybe.
like, but yeah, I probably yes. And the way that we talk about it is certainly different. But he was like, I think he was talking about. So him and my mom went to that No Kings protest,
Oh,
and they've been
really?
going to a lot of protests. Yeah, they've been
Oh my
doing a
God, my
lot
Tina and
of
Tom.
protesting. Yeah,
I had no idea. I
yeah,
had no idea my
they really
babies were
get
in the
out there.
street like that. That's not safe.
Yeah, no, so like, okay, so my uncle passed, and
They,
his memorial was on Saturday. That's why I was in DC.
okay.
Now, my uncle was in a wheel. My uncle was crippled in a couple of different ways. He was legally blind, legally deaf. He was in a wheelchair from strokes. He had these issues, and uh, Medicaid was basically the government was constantly trying to fuck him out of uh, his dignity and like access to respectable care. And so I found it really beautiful because my mom and dad went, my dad was really active in working with the government to try to get
Mm,
my uncle Timmy uh, to get him the care he needed
mm-hmm.
and to get him the services he needed. So, he'd be calling me, he'd be like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I've been on, like, like I was on a phone call for like 4 hours and with Maryland's, unemployment or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the fuck. And, he was like, I've been on and we got absolutely nothing done. Like he was gritting his teeth and like doing all the things that he had to do in order to try to get him what he needed to get. And so I found it really beautiful that they went on the day of his funeral, on the day of his memorial service. It was a Quaker memorial service. They went to the No Kings protest. Um, and to me, it was like a really beautiful homage
Yeah.
to, you know, what they were doing for my
I'm just
uncle
kidding
and just
about
what they were
being
trying to
like,
do.
oh no. But also, I'm not. I just want them to be safe because they have to take care of us for the
Dude, my
rest of
mom
their
is crazy
lives.
safe.
But
My
other
mom
than
was
that,
like, my mom was like, "Here, you have Timmy's." She was like, "Get the bag out of the truck. Make sure you bring it because that's Timmy's ashes." And I was like,
Oh
"Okay,
my
what?" And
lord.
she was like, "Make sure you bring Timmy's ashes because if we get arrested at the No Kings protest, like
Wow.
Timmy's got to get to his own funeral."
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow,
"Yeah, for
Tina.
sure."
Well,
So
Tina.
yeah, she
Well,
was like really planning ahead because she's
I,
really calmed down, but she'll
getting
definitely start
arrested
fighting.
is the danger in question. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like I need y'all to
Yeah,
not get arrested because
yeah.
the fascism. But okay,
No,
so
she's prepared.
King's Pros has conversation about sympathizing
Yeah.
and go from there.
He's like having me kind of. I'm explaining how I feel, kind of one point at the time.
Mhm.
He's like,
Wait, I guess I am confused as to what about whatever you're saying, and you'll get to that later.
yeah,
Talking about, but
gets to what I was
don't
asking.
no like no. I'm confused about what about what you're saying would Tom not agree with, or not see your point of view, or not understand. Like what is
Uh,
it?
I consider this to be like part of our. I consider this to kind of be part of our
Like,
tradition
and
and
I
a value
like
in our family, but it's
where does he point
questioning.
to you and go, "That's wrong"? Like, no, Nathan, what you just said is
Well,
wrong.
that's the beauty of the conversations that I have with my father. It's like it's not really a question of like you're wrong, and I want you to know that you're wrong. It's more of it really is dialogues, and he does something
Mm,
that he told me that his granddad used to do. He basically, it's like I think they call it the Socratic method. He's just like
mhm,
why a lot. And
mm,
so
mm, mm.
you say what you believe, and he'll be like, "Why do you believe that?" Or the other thing he does a lot is you say what you believe, and he
Yeah,
says, "Okay, what I'm hearing is this. Is that correct?"
right,
And then you alter what he said, and then he repeats it back, and then you alter it again, because that's what
right.
his process of finding your truth is
Okay.
kind of like making sure that what he's hearing is
Yes.
right.
So wait, so he's seeing your line of thinking, all the things you say, and because they're so different from what he focuses on and says,
Yeah,
he has this concern that he's trying to get to the
yeah.
bottom of. I feel that way. Like I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were on two different pages, and in my mind, I was saying we are talking about two different things, but she doesn't understand that we are talking about two different things. Same subject, but I'm making a point, a
Yes.
broader point, like a more like not philosophical, but I'm just, for lack of a better
I understand.
word, a higher like I'm talking theoretically, and she's like
Yes.
fact, 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 and I'm like, right. When I
Yeah.
say this person's name, I don't mean them. I mean like what they represent. And,
Yes.
and
Yes.
she's just like,
Yes.
no, they don't have four legs, and I'm like, no, they don't
Yeah.
have four legs.
Yeah.
But
But
a
yeah.
person
Yeah.
like the, and then me, and it was a really hard conversation where they spoke over
Yeah.
me, and my heart was beating fast, and I was just like, how do I explain to them that like I'm not sure they even understand what I'm trying to. But anyway, yeah, this point,
There's
yeah.
a tweet that you just reminded me of where this woman is talking about how she's like dudes will focus on the most minor aspect of a
Don't get
conversation,
me started. I unmatched somebody for
and
that yesterday.
and so the tweet is something like she says that, and then the example is like, "So you really fucked that bitch with the Sprite?" And the guy is like, "First of all, nobody had a Sprite," and it's like, yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah,
You just reminded
yes,
me of that.
yeah.
It's like I'm not really talking about
It's
like
true. It's
that.
true.
I'm talking about
It's true. Because
the
yesterday
overall. Yeah,
I was like, yeah, yeah, yes. Like yesterday I was like, what did you do today? I was like, oh, I did some yoga. I've been really processing some deep emotions. I had some Chipotle. I had to go over to my friend's house for her mom's funeral. I also did some deep
sorry.
cleaning. And he goes, how's the Chipotle up there?
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck you. Let's start there.
Yeah.
And then he followed up and was like, I'm asking because I know Chipotle is different in every city. Sir, if that
Oh
was the
yeah.
point that you wanted to connect on, we just can't be connecting. We can't
Yeah.
be
Not right
connected
now. Yeah.
about Chipotle. But okay. Okay. So I get it. So y'all not actually disagreeing. Your father's just kind of wondering why is that your focus, that place
Yeah,
all the
and
way
he's
over
just
there.
trying to keep me. He's trying to keep me in line, which I think minorities need to do that to each other. It's like, are you making too many excuses for us, for our people? I think that that's like a
Hence,
really
well,
fair
this is
thing to
interesting
worry
because
about.
we have to define excuse, but like, okay, excuse may be synonym for reason, but like you can have excuses without neglecting a solution. Like I can be like, we are this way because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Don't forget H, I, J, K, and there
Yeah.
is L, M, N, O, P. And still,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
ride at dawn, though. Like, and still, we
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
something about this tomorrow. But I can't run you the alphabet of reasons or excuses. I could, like, it's okay to have all the excuses. And on the other side of that page, you
Yes.
have to have an action plan to fix the fuckery, all
Yeah.
the
And
excuses,
I think it's like a little deeper than that. I think it's like, are you being duped? Like, are you is like a
he
con
thinks
man?
you're being duped. He
Yeah,
thinks
like,
you're being duped.
yeah, he was like, are you being conned by this, like, are you caring for,
Mm,
like, are you being conned into believing that this is your dog, and
the victim.
you're like giving them too much credit, and really they're playing you, and they know it.
I
It's more like
mean,
that,
then we would
not
have to
to
get
say
into
that
specifics
Israel's
because what
not
kind of
doing
credit you be given that he's thinking?
so the credit would be like, okay, it would be like, basically it's like, to broad strokes, are you putting all of the blame on other people
Mm, mm, mm,
and not trying to hold Israel accountable at all? Honestly, you and
mm,
I have had
mm.
this conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you've been worried about this with me. Quite honestly, I'm worried about.
Accountable,
I put,
accountable.
yes, yeah, I
I'm
put
going to
myself
define
through these
accountable.
kinds of. I put myself through these kinds of, tests. Is not really the right word, but like, I'll question myself all the time. Um, it's just that, like, kind of continuous verification process to make sure that I'm not getting like tricked, or having one like pulled over my eyes. So, obviously it's like,
Accountable.
okay, um, you know,
The definition of accountable is
yeah,
required or expected to justify one's actions or decisions. Required or
yeah.
expected to justify
I've never
one's.
looked up like a dictionary definition of accountable.
I be
Is
trying
there
to
like a
try to
more?
understand.
I was gonna say, is
Yeah,
there like a more like colloquial, like just more like
responsible and
regular
answerable report. Like this is saying accountable. Like
accounting?
you have, yeah, you have to answer to why you made a
Yes.
decision.
Yeah,
Answer
yeah,
to
yeah.
why you
Yes.
and excuses
Yeah,
are
for sure.
answers. Excuses are answers to why
Yeah,
you
but
did it.
they can also be excuses. Like a good example would be like George Zimmerman. Is that his name?
Yeah,
I can't remember. The
they
guy
can
that
also
shot the
put the responsibility on someone else rather than yourself.
Yeah,
Your answers could be
yeah,
I had no choice. I had to
yeah.
do it this way. I do think there's something in your ethos. I do think there's a place for growth where you identify the things that a person could have made another decision. And maybe your conclusion will be nope, they couldn't have. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But I would like give you the homework of figuring out is that your belief that they couldn't,
And
keyword couldn't, could not
yeah,
have. And I feel like you do that. You think about that all the time. That's where you get your quote unquote excuses from is that you look at the situation and you go, well, how could they have done this when this was going
yeah,
on? And then you
yeah,
create and so you just go, how could they have you no, you go, hold on, you don't go, how could they
yeah,
have done this? Maybe. maybe, maybe you go, um, they did this because of this happening first. And that's what you do most of the time. And you're thinking,
Yeah,
I would ask you to go to kind of take a break from saying like they did this because of this and ask the theoretical like thought experiment. What else could they have done? Truly, do you not like what other people would think they could have done, but with all your knowledge of what's really going on and the situations,
yeah,
if it were you, in those same situations, or maybe not if it were you, because now it's
yeah,
not theoretical anymore because it's not you. If you were them, and I don't even know if you could know what you would do if you were them, but from your perspective of knowing what's going on in their lives and their lineage and their in the context of history, what
yeah,
else could they realistically, from your standards,
yeah.
could have
I
done?
mean, so this is really interesting. First of all, it's interesting because I feel like you're already kind of processing your answer for my original question.
Okay.
And so, so that's interesting to apply both to my situation and then also to think about, I wonder how Kara would
Would
answer
answer
that
that.
original question.
I don't think
Now,
I know
the
enough about Black history to even understand all the factors at play to be like, oh, they could have
yeah,
did this, but they could have done Ask or B because I don't even know all the factors at play.
hey, listen, you don't have to tell me like that is you don't remember that that's oftentimes that's what I say about. I'll be like, man, a lot of people are saying a lot of things about Israel and
Right?
Palestine who are
They
not
don't know all
Israeli
the
or
factors.
Palestinian. Yeah, it's
So
like there's a lot of people who are not having like really don't have no reason to really actually
yeah,
know the history. I actually had someone very well. Nah, I don't want to get distracted. I had a kind of crazy experience where someone was telling me that ICE was worse than the Nazis, and I literally, all I was saying back
worse is
to them was like,
hilarious. ICE hasn't
all
started.
I was saying back to them was
Sorry.
like, can you not say worse? Like, can you just not say worse? Like, don't say like you don't have to say that ICE is better than the Nazis. I don't care what like we don't have to get into that. Just why
Yeah.
compare? And it was like, and this person kept pushing, and they were like, ICE is worse
What did
because
they
the
have
Holocaust
reason?
already happened.
Well,
They
that's
said
just
they kept saying
this
it
was
was
an
because the
idiot.
Holocaust
This
already
was an
happened.
idiot. This was
Yeah,
an
I know,
idiot.
and it was just like wild, and I kept giving examples, and they kept denying them, and I was like, and then I got kind of frustrated, and they were like, whoa, dude. Like we could have had a really civil conversation, but you got all frustrated. And I was like, I was like, how can you say, how can you live in a world where you can say things like that and not it like okay, let's say I got inappropriate because I got triggered and I shouldn't have gotten fresh or like in a perfect world I shouldn't have gotten frustrated. Like how can you think that you can have that conversation without triggering someone to the point of that? And then kind of like if I feel like when I'm trying to get to a place where I know what I said to you, I was like, listen, I'm gonna ask you a question. It might be triggering. So it's like trying to like recognize like when things might be hard for other people so
No.
that I'm then able to like give
Well,
grace in that
I can't
situation.
say no, but I can
Yeah.
say no. I can say just how some like professional debaters have the rule I do not debate fascists. Okay. Or is it no, I'm sorry, I do not debate Nazis. Or I don't know, debate fascists. It's one of those where as soon as a
Yeah.
person outright admits, if they say out loud in a debate, I've seen debaters if they say out loud in a debate, I am a fascist or I am a Nazi, the person leaves a debate and they say, I do not debate Nazis or fascists because I don't want
I
you to
can
be get.
understand
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
There
I
are people I do not debate for sure.
I think do not debate idiots. Don't even converse. Sorry, don't converse
Yeah.
with idiots because it's hard on you. It takes a toll on you, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's just
It
not
really
work.
does.
It's
It's like
really
so
bad.
silly. Like I've cut it down to like once every couple
Yeah,
of months.
yeah.
And I'll walk away from it and I'll be like, I thought
Yeah.
that would be someone that I could like
It catches you.
and then
you're like,
it
damn, I'm in an
gets me every
argument with.
time. Yeah,
Damn.
they reel me in and then I think the people that I've gotten really good at recognizing though are the people that really that ask questions and you know that they're asking questions not because they care about your answer, but they're asking
Mm-hmm.
questions to
Mm-hmm.
offensively, like aggressively. Like they don't care about the
Be
answer, they just want to yeah,
just to
exactly. And
exist aggressively towards you.
those people are usually pretty easy for me to spot at this point. Like if those are the
Mm.
people I really don't, it's
Yeah,
like,
you're like, oh
okay,
no.
yeah, like you don't care. You've already made up your mind, and your mind is made up based on like what I know to be just genuinely just not true things. And
Yeah.
so I'm not going to like if you believe that Jews really actually run the world, I'm not like actually like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's people who like kind of think it, or kind
Mm-hmm.
of have like are weird about it, but then there's people who really
Really
fucking
are
actually believe it,
yeah,
and it's
that's
like, oh,
the hill, the hill they'll die
that's
on.
based on some
I bel
that's
I
based on some dude wrote in the mountains somewhere.
There's this one guy who's a meditator and a psychotherapist, and he does podcasts now, Dr. K, and he's done like a lot of meditation to the point where he's had like out of body experiences, and all of the podcast guys want to ask him like, tell us about the experience, like what do you be seeing, what happens, what's on the other side, and he refuses to talk about it. He's like, I don't talk about that in public, and
Yeah,
then they're like, what, why not? And he says one, and I'm going to paraphrase it wrong, but his overall message is those experiences are sacred, and we don't talk about the sacred things in a mundane way. And I think that your conversation, particularly because you've worked so hard to develop your knowledge base and your thoughts, you put emotional labor into it, you've put physical labor, reading and stuff into it. I do think your conversation around some things is sacred because it is like, once again, you do work to
yeah,
to
that's very true.
and
Yeah,
when we just colloquially or casually share our hard-earned thoughts and feelings and sentiments and ideas and knowledge with a dum
yeah,
dum who hasn't put that much energy into respecting the seriousness of this conversation, it
yeah,
it I don't know what it does, but it definitely doesn't do justice to the conversation. And if it's enough, I'm
yeah,
just sharing this for you to be like, I just want you to know, like, I would love for you in those situations to be able to be like, you know what, this conversation is too sacred for me to be doing this with you, and I don't have to do this with you. And even you can still do it with them, but I think there's a version of doing it where you ever see somebody have a debate or a conversation and they're not even entertaining the idea that what this person is saying holds any weight. They're not
yeah,
letting,
1,000%.
they're still saying words towards that person, but they're just so above that person and being like, wow. And they just keep telling them their sacred thoughts, and hopefully something will land. But I'm not considering that anything you're saying right now is more important than what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
I see like protesters and stuff do that too, where they just like are yelling their mantra or yelling whatever, and the energy is like, no matter what in the weeds, mincing of words that you want to do with me to try to convince me that fascism is okay, I'm going to yell over you, fuck Nazis. No, I'm not having this debate with you.
yeah,
It's not a debate. What I'm saying goes, because it's a higher principle, and you're
yeah,
and all the thoughts, you're gonna have to figure them out yourself. Because what it
yeah,
is it's fuck Nazis. That's what it is, and that's what it's
yeah,
always gonna be. If you could engage in conversation, and I'm talking more to myself too. Like sometimes I think people like me and you, we really have really intelligent thoughts that we hold so closely, but our heart is so open that we're willing to listen to other people and have their words really impact us like a sponge, and then it drains
yeah,
us and it fucks us up. And I would like us to be that louder voice that's like, and no, you cannot come into my heart space and prophesy to me your
yeah.
bullshit, because
I mean,
it is bullshit.
yeah, it is, and I think sometimes I think it's hard because um, I feel way more like I say this all the time. I told you this experience all the time. Like growing up, when I would voice things about uh, Holocaust, I feel like I would always have people on the left would be like, Nathan, you need to forgive Nazis, especially when it came to like when my granddad was alive and there would be like 80-year-old people would be getting arrested because it turns out they were like mass murderers. They were like Nazis. There would be like 80-year-old people who would be discovered as Nazis. They get arrested. And I would be like, I'd be like, huh, like that makes me feel good, but then everybody around me who was like on the left would be like, this is not going to accomplish anything. What a ridiculous thing to do to arrest an 80-year-old. And I'd have to be like, yeah, that's crazy. And it's like, I don't even, I still don't know,
Yeah.
like what is prison? I'm an abolitionist.
Yeah.
I don't even think prison's going to fix anything anyway. So I agree with you on one point.
On
But at the
one
same
point.
time, I'm like, it's kind of nice to see him arrested. I don't know, like,
It's okay to have more
like,
points. It's okay to have a lot of points.
just like it's nice to see like a little something. And then I felt like your brother right there.
A little something. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
But
Did he ever
it's
call
nice.
and say like, "Hey, I had a good time at your house"? Did he do the appropriate thing?
No, he's a
I
fully
hate that.
grown. He's a
I
fully
hate
grown
that.
person.
I
Me
hate that.
too. Me too. I love that you hate that.
I hate it because he did text me and sent me pictures of him and Javi that he took and said, "Oh my God, Javi's amazing. I had such a good time." Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And I was gonna
Oh well, then
screenshot
let me go
it.
check.
I was gonna
Let me reach.
screenshot it and send it to you and Lauren, but I said,
Yeah.
here I go, fuck it up again, being it because this is how it got fucked
Yeah.
up. Is I was speaking for him, and that's how it got fucked up. So I was like, let me not, but I would hope that you would also send that to the people who it's about. But and I didn't even say, hey, you should, because that's me fucking up. I can't dictate your relationship, but I guess I just wanted you to know that he did message me and send pictures and was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But why he doesn't do that
Well,
to
maybe
I don't
because
like that.
maybe because
I
he
don't get
gets
it.
more. Maybe because he gets more invites to stuff with me through you than he does directly from
Now
me. In
you a
which case,
Cameron
that would also
sympathizer.
be. Yeah, I know. This is what I do. Like
You a
I always, I
sympathizer.
see, sympathize. I end up asking for both
Because I
sides
would have
because,
never thought of that, what you just
and
said.
because I care about accountability, and that draws me into it. If I want nice Cameron text, then I need to be texting Cameron myself.
And honestly, like I just said, like I would have never come up with that. It doesn't mean that you're wrong and I'm right.
Yeah,
It's just that you in that case you thought broader than me.
yeah,
And
and
I
I
like
could
the
be wrong.
conclusion you
Or
came
you could be.
to. I do like oh,
Yeah,
if I text Cameron more, then he would text me more. And I do
yeah,
think that's true. But there's also another world where you, as the person who came over someone's house, you text them and you say, hey,
yeah,
thanks. And both things are true.
yeah.
Both things are true. Okay, so your
So
dad, he was like
yeah, that kind of
wagging
like
his
to
finger at
end the
you.
conversation. What kind of ended the conversation? I was like, listen, when it comes to Israel, like a lot of times what I hear reminds me of the way that people will attack black people, the way that people will say, will attack black people like as
Right.
stereotypically, like as a people, like they'll say like, okay, look at these people, they have had every opportunity, they have wasted them all they want is violence, they just want to hurt the people around them, they just want to do the worst fucking
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
basically what I was saying is like, I feel that when people are saying that, I was like, the reason why I talk about these things with you, Dad, is because when I know you're
Yeah.
hearing those things,
You be,
and then
yeah.
I want to sit down with you and I want to talk about what
The
could be
why,
the
the other
reason
why.
why.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Did
like
he
I
understand that
always
when you said that?
Oh yeah. He was like, I mean, really, what the conclusion came to, what satiated him, what satisfied him, was that I was like, listen, I will always believe that we need to be handling the racism in our own backyards.
Yeah, that's the point
That
you've
is the
always come to.
immediate That is what comes
Solution.
first. I don't understand
Which is a
why I
profound
would.
thought that you've always said, and I never
Yeah.
thought of that, but I do agree with you.
It just makes sense to me. It's like, okay, there's racism right on the other side of the street, or there's racism 2,000 miles away. I'm gonna ignore the racism right across the street, and I'm gonna start picketing for like 2000s. It
Yeah,
doesn't make as much sense to me. It's just
yeah.
logistically. So, and I know that if we handle racism,
Well,
like
we
an
could have something
injustice,
to offer another country if
yeah,
we figured it
an
out here.
injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. So I
Facts.
think that when it comes to a problem like racism, a solution anywhere is a solution everywhere. If we solved it in America, that would inherently require solving it everywhere. It's kind of, like I've always said, I feel like not always, but like since I was 18,
Mm-hmm.
like I've said that I feel like racism's going to end, like it would have to end everywhere all at once. I don't think that
Okay,
you can necessarily have like one racist country
that's
left.
interesting. What the fuck we gonna do
But
with
I
North
don't know.
Korea?
Now that I say it out loud to you
Well,
right now,
yeah,
after
yeah.
years, yeah, I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
because
But
we have these borders. I mean, because everybody has to be
yeah,
converted. It's like a software system. It's like
yeah,
some
and
phones got the
honestly,
upgrades, but the other ones did not.
it's it's a fallacy. It's a lie to believe. Like it part of racism is the idea that lines on a map are cut and dry, and they use that to be like, okay, this stuff right here is
This
like
is where
white
it
stuff.
ends. Right.
Yeah,
That's
like this
where
is
your
the white stuff
DEI
right here.
ends.
But it's like, okay, well, all of the Mediterranean is a little bit black and a little bit
Yeah.
all of it. It's a little bit everything. So like the Greece,
Yes,
you know what I
I
mean?
agree.
Like you say Greece invented diplomacy. That's not just like white people. You know what I mean? Like Rome was very colorful, literally and racially. And so, it's like that was, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
they draw
I
these
have an
lines on the map in
answer
order to, but you said you have an answer
to your black people question.
to my which one? Sorry.
To your black people question.
Oh, sure. Yeah. What is it?
I think the most powerful person in a room where there is conflict is the one who can speak to the untruth and bring light to it. Like how you were saying, oh, they had all these opportunities and they like violence and all they're good for is X, Y, and Z. The person in the room who we need is the one who can do what you do with Israel and go, oh, but did you know this? And do you know that actually the way you're framing that is wrong? And actually
Yeah.
that's a fallacy. That person
Yeah.
has to that the person we need has to be able to do that with that you do. And I can get into like the because. But yeah, because people are gonna be in the room who that stereotype is inflicting pain, and they're only gonna get behind you if you call bullshit on that. Because they're gonna be like, no, that's
Yeah.
not what happened. That's not, I don't like violence. My father was beating the shit out of my mom, so I shot him. That's what happened. And,
Yeah.
and you have to be able to get on that person's side. So
Yeah.
that, and then also, but that the person we need doesn't just do that. And I feel like, no, I can't say you just do that, but I feel like maybe you spend a lot of time doing that, and that's what your dad sees, and that's what people hear is like you being
Yeah.
like, well,
Yeah. I
that
lean into it.
you
Yeah.
lean into that. But I think the person we need also in tandem with that, they have solutions to the problem. So
Yeah.
if the man did shoot his father because of blah blah blah, he defends that man and does away with all the stereotypes
And
and
then
all,
what's the solution?
and then he,
And that,
yeah.
yes, yeah. And that's why there's like, I tell you, I can never remember her name because it was a while ago. But when I was, because I researched, both sides. So when I was researching more
Wait,
into
before you say, before, because the last thing I was like, I said
sorry.
why you had to be the person who can tear down the stereotypes, because you need that person to feel seen, to get on your side, to get your vote. Why do you have to have the solution? Not because solutions are good, not just, but because these things are emotional and people retreat to their default setting if they don't have a way forward. If you don't show them, like, hey, so I just debunked your racist thought, but if you
Yeah.
don't give them a solution that they can replace their racist thought with, and you would think, wait,
Yeah.
isn't just the truth
I
the solution?
I do
No,
understand what
no,
you're
because
saying.
they don't want just to know the knowledge. They want the crime rate to go down. They don't really care. They hear you about what the truth is, but but in
Yeah.
that moment they want the crime rate to go down, or they want to know that you care about the crime rate going down just as much as you care about validating this dude's feelings. And the only way you can show them you care is if you like give them a
Yeah.
plan for. So in the Israel thing, it's like, yes, yes, please validate why Israel is behaving they do, but I don't believe you care about ending the genocide if you aren't saying anything about ending it, and you're just telling me why it's happening, but you don't say
Yeah.
anything about ending it. I have to go take my
Yeah.
emotions to go find a leader who wants to end it, because this guy just keeps talking about why it's happening. I need it to end desperately, and no one is talking to me about ending it, and
Yeah,
therefore
yeah.
I turn away from you because the heart wants it to
Interesting.
end.
Yeah.
Like Tom wanted you to say something about it ending, and you didn't have
Yeah.
anything for him there.
Yeah. Really, how it ended, he was like, okay, well, are you doing anything to end
Right,
racism in your own backyard?
right.
And I was like, I was like, come on. And then he laughed and we like went
And
up
then
to
y'all,
bed. Yeah. Because, but it's like, I think that that's a really interesting point. And I remember thinking like, we were talking more about doing this podcast a long while ago, I was like, if we could
right.
kind of like highlight the people, like, because what this Palestinian woman said that I found so enthralling was that she was like, basically what needs to happen is people need to start focusing on what they can build together, what Israelis and Palestinians can build together. And I found that to be a really interesting
Mm-hmm.
query,
Mm-hmm.
to continue to think about. And then, you just get deeper into, I just get deeper into this realization that, because I am not, like, I could speak about what I think Israelis and Palestinians could build together in America,
Yeah,
or what Jews, could,
yeah.
like what people like me could help build. But, it really
But
had to
your
think about,
theory,
okay,
and
what are people that are over there, what are people doing already, and can we highlight that? And I don't know if you remember, there was like that organization that was started because a guy's daughter was murdered by like Israeli
mm,
police, and then another guy's son was murdered by some, like, a Palestinian something, and basically they created this organization where people from both sides sit down and grieve and
yes,
forgive and move forward and talk about those same sort of, what can we build, what can we do together, what can we build together, how can we end this.
yeah,
And so, it's like, what are those, because this thing I found, and my dad was like, I mean, he's very much surrounded by pro-Palestinian and
right.
anti-Israel stuff, and his main thing really though is that he's like, I do understand. He was like, I really know that the majority of Israelis don't want this.
Yeah,
He's like, I know that. So it's like, how do you get
yeah,
to those voices who are
yeah.
trying to end things, and how do you amplify those, as well as on the Palestinian side? I think it's the same. I feel like Palestinian people who have been in America for a while, and who have, there's not really a language barrier, and they're able to write and express how they feel. I feel like there's a lot, and I found an overwhelming number of, and this is just my own personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, but I found a lot of rational, positive voices. And
Mm-hmm.
I think some of it is like, people, like, I think being a refugee fucking sucks. I think it's better once you're like settled.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think obviously some people have easier time settling than others, but there are decent numbers of Palestinian communities that have been here for long enough that they feel settled. And I feel like there's a lot of really interesting dialogue coming from those, and obviously, like I said, like that lady who I quoted or paraphrased, she is herself from Palestine. So there's just also people in Palestine who are uh, rational, obviously. And so I feel like, yeah, how do you talk about what's going on, but then how do you amplify those voices? I think that would have to be part of anything that we do.
Yeah.
Or that would be like an interesting, path forward, because I remember texting you something, and it was like, do you ever, like, it was something about, I feel like I texted you something about like a movement for solidarity.
Hmm.
And I was like, do you ever hear news about this? And it's like, I don't really ever either. Like, I feel like I rarely ever
Hmm.
hear the good news.
Yes. Yes. This
But
yeah,
yeah,
and that's like the solution, or I feel like you're saying good news as solution. So I just want to mirror to you, like the people who
yeah,
you admire a lot are those people who lean into solution dialogue.
yeah,
I think
absolutely, yeah, for
we're
sure.
very diagnostic people, you and me. Like we love to diagnose something and analyze why it's happening.
Yeah,
And people don't appreciate the, like, they'd be like, well, they do be just trying to get to the what of the thing.
yeah,
And I'd be like, okay, but can we hang out in like the why a
yeah.
little? And they'd be
I mean,
like, no.
I think it's important. I think it's important at
It's
every
so
level to look at the
important.
why, because I remember telling this to my friend. I was like, because he was like planning. He was like, what if we put
Mm-hmm.
like armed black men at the
Mm-hmm.
corner of these
Dumb.
trenches in DC, and they're there to like police what the police won't police, and then but I was like,
Dumb.
you're telling me you want to put armed black men on these corners? Like, you are an armed black man and you want to put armed black men at these corners, and you don't want to tell you don't, like, you're playing it like the police aren't going to know, and they're just going to be
Mhm.
driving around seeing armed black men at the corner. I was like,
Yeah, didn't think
that
about.
has to
And
be
diagnostics is
different.
important because if you don't know what the problem truly is, your
Well,
solution will be stupid.
the other thing that I find really interesting is, like, people talk about revolution, but I feel like people rarely plan very well for what happens when the violence is over. And then what do you do with all of these highly traumatized people who are now trying to rebuild systems?
Hmm.
I feel like that's it. Like, we see that time and time again. We see traumatized people go through some sort of revolutionary process, come out and recreate the exact same bullshit that caused it all in the first place.
Hmm.
And so I feel,
Is that
it's like, I
annoying?
remember asking him, like, it's like, what do you do? How, like you're jumping for the solution, but it's like, it's interesting because the solution also comes with diagnostics. It comes with analytics, because you have to, like, even if you present the solution, there's then, like,
People be
what
like,
is
well,
the
why,
like
how? They be
solution
like,
to the solution? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it just keeps
yeah,
going. It doesn't just stop
yeah.
once. Yeah,
I agree. Are you talking
yeah.
to Lauren?
I did get home, and
Hello,
I see my
dear.
son.
And you see
Kara
your
says hey.
son. Hello, son. Hey,
And
girl.
okay, I'm gonna. She's, oh,
Okay.
dude.
You carved the
Oh,
pump. Did you put a pumpkin
dude.
on my baby's head?
Oh my God, dude.
Don't
Even
put a
better.
pumpkin on my baby's
We put
head.
a baby in a
In a
pumpkin.
pumpkin.
You're gonna love it.
Well,
There's
that's
a photo
better.
that I'm gonna send you. You're gonna lose your fucking mind. It's insane. But okay, Lauren's gonna do that. I'll talk to you later.